Welcome everyone to my first YouTube video. I am Silver Mellow, and as you can tell by the title of this video, I will be turning Minecraft mobs into D&D monsters. Today's story for my art has been decided by rolling dices to see how the situation progresses, how worse it gets, and how well the character told in this story fights the mobs. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Sitting around warm campfires sit many adventurers telling their stories and adventures, till many around the campfire I sit at begin to look at me as I finish my tomato soup. As they all look at me, I begin to tell the story of some of the amazing creatures and magical things I have seen. Ages ago, in a land long and far away, I was travelling through a large dark logged forest, till I found a small but well looked after village. As walking through the village, I found the people to be living there very odd, but after walking, I came to a town centre where stands a very old and rusty metal statue. I was looking at the statue, admiring the craft, till all of a sudden I could hear a bell ringing throughout the town. When I walked over to the village guards, it was then when I saw it. A weird monster with a head and body of a human, however it had no eyes and no arms. But what made it creepy and unrealistic was the 4 tiny little legs chasing after one of the villagers. It was after killing, or better yet trying to kill it, when I saw it self-destruct and almost killing one of the villagers. This was when the village guards told me how common these creatures were, and how the village looked so new because they were consistently rebuilding. It was until after I saw the sight behind me when I froze. I was in shock. I was frozen in place at the sight I was seeing. These green, no-armed creatures were eating these villagers and dead barn animals. I was in shock, as some were blowing up buildings and homes. I was later told that these creatures were called creeps. But what was even more hard to watch was the other monsters eating and joining in the slaughter. These humanoid, green-skinned monsters looked like adventurers from my homeland. They had swords and axes. I was convinced what they were from my homeland, till I saw one bite one of the villagers, turning them into another green-skinned creature for the hunger of living flesh. I was in shock that these zombies were being made without the need of a necromancer. It was hard to watch this, or so I thought, till I saw a villager child about to be attacked by one of these creatures. It was then I stepped in front, the zombie almost getting bit. However, thanks to my sword and my shield, I hadn't. I was able to save the child, but even after blocking one attack and moving a bit away from the zombie, it just kept coming. After a moment of seeing the crying child behind me, I raised my sword and struck the zombie down while protecting the child from any further monsters that were coming into the village. A few too many minutes went by as the slaughter was still raging on. Me and the village guards were working together at this point, trying to keep as many of the villagers safe, while others were either being killed outside or trying to run away, or as their homes were invaded or blown up. At that moment, me and the guards all had a moment where we looked at the slaughter and the people behind us. We screamed out to the villagers to run as we tried to protect them, as we lost more people and guards trying to protect them. I'm not sure how long it had been since we screamed out to the villagers to run, but when I turned my back, I was in shock as I saw villagers and the same child running back as they were being chased by other zombies and creeps again. It had looked like a complete army of these monsters was surrounding the village and these trees as they got closer to the villagers. It was then when the child had grabbed a hold of me from behind, and I know that the child ran back to me, expecting me to be able to protect them all. The guards dealt with the rest as I turned my back and faced the army of zombies and creeps barreling towards us after they were chasing the villagers. I told the child to go hide as I smiled. When the child had hid, I walked towards the army of monsters, cutting as many down as I was thrown around from the explosions of the creeps. But to make sure I was saving the villagers and as many people as possible, I always kept getting back up as I was blown aside. After a few too many explosions, I had been thrown away or thrown to the side. The blood was dripping off my head, my arms, everywhere you could think. It was until I saw the child watching me was when I took one final step up and ran to the army, slaughtering as many of the zombies and creeps as I possibly could. But after a while, my leg collapsed and I fell to the ground. All I could do was look back at the zombies and creeps as I fell to the ground, covered in mud. As I wiped the dirt away to look back at the child hiding, to say I'm sorry and that I wasn't able to protect everyone. It was in a moment when, for some weird reason, I saw the child had grabbed a small rose and ran to the statue in the town centre. When I looked back to see the undead facing me as they looked at me with their black, empty eyes, I looked away as I knew the pain that was going to be coming. When I closed my eyes, it was all I could hear was the sound of the groaning of the zombies and the screams of the people as they were dying. It was at that moment I heard it, the sound of moving metal and loud footsteps. I looked up to see the zombies and the creeps still walking to me, but in that moment I saw it. A massive, rusty metal arm came plummeting down, as if it was flying, connected to a chain. It came down and punched the zombie that was closest to me, throwing it back into the forest. There it was. It was at that moment I could see it. The metal statue. It was moving as if it had been brought to life. It was walking to the army of creeps and zombies, waving its chain metal arms, throwing 5 to 7 of them each at once. Zombies and creeps were just thrown away as this massive metal statue was moving and destroying what we, the guards, and me as an adventurer, could not handle. It was till at that moment when the statue had stopped to let the undead and the creeps walk to it, was when I saw that in its right hand was a small rose. It was at that moment I had realized that the child had picked up the rose and somehow managed to make it as an offering to this statue and bring it to life. It was at that moment I realized it was no statue, but an ancient, magical golem designed to protect the village and the people within it. Okay, sorry about if there was any grammar or voice cracks or anything during that video. This is my first video, so I'm still gaining experience at making videos and doing voiceovers for my stories and my art. Anyway, I thought I'd tell you guys a little bit of something, like just design notes, I guess. With my creeper design, I was very motivated to draw the creeper, but the creeper was far too simple in colours and in shape. So I'm not entirely happy with my creeper design. And it's the same with the zombie. The zombie is far too simple. It's actually one of the very many reasons why I gave it blood coming out the mouth and the eye, and made it look like it's got cuts on the arms, and gave it the sword on its back. I wanted to give it some more detail, but there wasn't much I could do with the creeper at the time because its tiny legs, and having it go over a step you wouldn't see the back legs, and I just I felt like keeping it simple was more easier for everyone to understand what the design was going to be. So, and making it look like the mobs when they're nothing but pixels also makes it a little harder. So, I really challenged myself with this video, so I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Small design note with the Iron Golem. I actually was very happy with how my Iron Golem turned out. The Even though it's a very simple sort of color scheme, shape, and everything, it still was a fun design to draw because the vines that it has, like the overgrown look to it, really helped, especially with noticing that it had like a weird rusty look to it. So giving it rust and the vines was just a really good way of bringing some detail to this. I also took a concept of the Iron Golem's love being given roses, so I thought that maybe giving it a rose would help it activate. Anyway, I hope you liked my Iron Golem design as well as my creeper and my zombie. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed my art and story video. I'm hoping to maybe possibly turn this into a channel thing where I design mobs and monsters, so, and other relatable things, or other concepts or games or anything, just something. But I hope you all liked the video. Have a good morning, day, or night. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys all in the next video. Thank you.